get her where she is today. I'm going to shut up now because she's going to appear before us. Avro Vulcan XH558.
Landing them up from there.
Just a little touch on the throttles there from Philodell. The man actually flying the display today, a Bournemouth man, more about that later. And a touch on the throttles of the 4 Rolls-Royce Bristol Olympus 202 turbojets. 16,500 pounds of static thrust from each of them, about 65,000 pounds in total. So the RAF's had Vulcans since 1956. They were designed to carry the British nuclear deterrent. This was one of the aeroplanes that protected us against the awful possibility of nuclear holocaust. We did really like that. There are the bomb doors opening. The bomb bay is open. As she comes back in front of us. Third man of the crew today is the Air Electronics Officer, Phil Davies. He's the man who was doing that bomb door. And why is that happening? Well, 3 technical authority companies will finally bring her flying life to a close. BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce and Marshall Aerospace. They've decided they can't continue to support her after this season. And without their support, she loses her civil permit to fly. She becomes illegal. It's nothing to do with funding, nor about the supply of parts. And this is XP924, often known by Foxy Lady in Bournemouth, and he's up and he's turning to the right. He's going to have to do a bit of a flat display because of the weather and the clouds. But it's great for those contrails. Look at those, George.
Yeah, now do you want to just mention how that happens? Because it happens to a lot of fast jets, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's to do with the airflow over the wing, and the air at the bottom of the wing is trying to get to the top because of the pressure differential. And what it does is it ends up curling around the end of the wingtip. So we'll probably see 1 or 2 of those actually today. So he's running in from the left, and this aircraft was a fighter of the 60s and 70s. First thought about in 1946. A 2-man aeroplane being flown by Commander Simon Hargreaves, Royal Naval Reserve. And he's coming in here for a fast pass, and it's called a belly-up pass, so that those with cameras can get a really nice photograph and see this remarkable planform of a large aeroplane with a big wing and these 2 booms and a tailplane that connects the 2 together. Now, there's a spike coming out of the left-hand wing. What's that? Well, that left spoke, that would be a refueling probe. So this aircraft could go up behind a tanker. Obviously we've got the new tanker company in the Royal Air Force. This aircraft will plug in behind that if it was, still flying in those sorts of ideas. Just see him coming back. He's done a dairy turn. He's making his way through those clouds, making sure that it doesn't go in the night. And so this aircraft will fly behind a fuel tanker, take fuel from the aircraft, so he can top his tanks back up again. Here we are. This is a top pass. The other side, you see the twin engines are running in the middle of the fuselage, and the booms are on the outside. And this isn't as big as a Vulcan aircraft, of course, but this is a fighter. And you can see that sort of performance where these 2 Avon 208s giving us 11,000 pounds thrust from each one. He falls on the coals, but we only use 95%, George, because we don't want to burn our fatigue out of these engines too quickly.
Sounds a bit like me, actually, Bill. Yeah, I'm preserving my age as well now. I only pull about 95% of my full capability.
That's not what I meant. So anyway, he's coming out, he's just picking his way through there again. The same thing, we don't do looping manoeuvres in this aeroplane because we've limited ourselves to 4G. That means that the pilot weighs 4 times his weight when he's in the aircraft. We don't want to go more than 4G because if you do looping manoeuvres, you've got this problem of making sure that you don't overstress the aircraft at the bottom. And so we treat this old girl rather carefully and look after her because we want to be on the circuit for a good number of years. And we're going to be. We've got to raise money for this though, because although we're based now at Yeovilton, and this was the home of the Sea Vixen, and back in naval colours in this 899 Strike and Defend HMS Eagle colour scheme that you can see just about, the fact is that I've got to raise a good couple £100,000 each year to make sure we can fly, maintain her, and operate her correctly, and put fuel in her and things like that. So that's our challenge, and I'm really hoping that people now looking at her will get behind us, support us as they've done with the Vulcan and other aircraft types, and help us keep her in the Air Force. There's a classic fighter there.
It looks so big to be a fighter, though, this aircraft. I mean, it really is large.
Well, the point is that with that big...
Long-time companion, many stunning boats. With a maximum range of over 1,100 miles, the heavy defensive armament gained the aircraft its nickname, the Flying Fortress. The B-17G model carrying either 12 or 13.5-inch Browning machine guns. By the end of fighting in Europe, almost 30,000 Fortress missions had been flown from British bases.